Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find and replace. So you can do Ctrl F, or you can do this find button up here. So you can hit Ctrl F, or you can use this find and select thing to find. As you can see, I've got a lovely find and select thing here. So what I'm going to find first is I'm going to have a quick flick through my data. Very, very nice data there. And I want to find where every time it says QS. So if I go find next, you can see there's a QS there, there's a QS there, QS there, QS there, QS there. There's lots and lots of instances where it appears. Let's find all. And now I can see a long list here of everywhere where it appears. Now, as the incredible genius I am, I know that QS stands for something. And in this instance, I'm pretty sure it stands for quantity surveying. So I'm going to replace those with a more meaningful word. So quantity survey. I think I spelled that correctly. And now I'm going to replace every instance of QS with quantity surveyor. So I'm just going to click here, replace all. And as you can see, every place it appeared in the data, it now says quantity surveyor instead of QS. Nice and straightforward. I have now found every QS and replaced it with quantity surveyor. One potential thing to consider is if somebody's name had QS in it, I might have potentially just replaced it with quantity surveyor, but lucky for me, I'm pretty sure I know that there is nobody's name in this world that has a Q then an S within it. Pretty sure that's not allowed. All right, so the next thing is data validation. I want to make sure that people are filling this out within my rules. Now, in this column here for department, I know there's only so many departments that exist within this data. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to copy a version of that so I can have a look at it, and I want to find what the different options are within it. So I know that the version I've got at the moment only has correct inputs, so I'm going to go ahead and remove, if I can remember how to do that. There we go, I'm going to remove duplicates. So I'm going to remove all the duplicates in column K, and as you can see, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different departments that everyone is within. So let's put those over there. And I'm going to do a nice little bit of formatting here to make it look neat. Let's change this to black, this to white, and I'm going to put you all in a box. That one, that one. So as you can see, I've got my nice long list of departments here. So now that I've got my list, I am going to make it so that you can only enter data within this column within my rules. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to data, and that's draw data. I'm then going to go to data validation here. Let's see what options I've got there. I think I want to choose the data validation one, and then I get this nice pop-up window that says data validation. So I've selected column C, and within this column, I only want to allow a list. So I want to allow what is within my list and only that. Now I have to include a source of what the options are going to be. Now I could go in here and type finance, comma, there's one option, then HR, comma, there's another option, but I also can use a bunch of boxes or cells as my source to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these, and then as I've now set in my source, that list of boxes is going to be what my department drop-down will be. So I'm going to click OK. And now let's see if I can change one of these. So we know the top one is finance, so we'll remember what it is. So I'm going to now delete that, and I'm going to spell it wrong. And I get a nice little pop-up that says the value doesn't match the data validation, restrictions defined for this cell. Well, let's retry. And then, no, it absolutely isn't going to let me. So I'm going to cancel it. And as you can see, it's automatically gone back to something that is allowed. So let's open this drop-down. See, I can now see what options I have. So I can change it to risk manager, but I definitely couldn't spell it wrong because it would get angry. Now, what was that again? I think it was finance was the default. Doesn't massively matter. Okay, so the next thing is my shortcuts. So first one is Ctrl A. It selects all of my boxes forever. Now, if you try and copy and paste this, it might get a bit angry at you that it takes a little bit of a while. So I'm not going to do that. Let's copy a few people's names. So I'm going to hit Ctrl C. And over here, I'm going to hit Ctrl V, and look at that, I have copied some names. Now, I can also copy and cut. So if I Ctrl X, I've now cut it, and let's pop it down here, and then Ctrl B, and the original has disappeared. Excellent. Let's delete those because they look messy. Now, next is Control Space. I've now selected my whole column. Nice and easy. You can do the same thing by clicking the little black arrow that appears when you hover over one of the numbers or one of the letters or yada yada. And if I hit Shift, where's my Shift button? Shift Space, I select my row. And now that I've selected my row, if I hit Control Space again, I can select all my columns, same as I got for Control A. The next one is some of my maths. So I want to make a little space for my maths here somewhere. So let's call this statistics. I want my statistic to look like my lovely little department thing. Actually, I'm also gonna, it's bold because I don't need to. Okay, so the first thing I want to know is I want to know what the total sum of the rating is. So I'm going to do equals sum, and you can see there a little list pops up of what possible functions I could choose. I'm going to do equals sum, open brackets, and then I'm going to select all my ratings because I want to know the total sum. And there we go, 546 is the total rating of everyone combined, but that's not a particularly useful number. Actually, let's make this neater. I'm going to say sum. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is come up with an average. But we also know it's important to remember that the average is a mean. So let's do that calculation. Equals a average, open brackets. Let's just do the whole of D and see what happens. There we go. The average is 5.46. That makes sense when the sum is 546. Next, let's find out what the highest rating you can possibly get is. So equals max. Select my column again. The maximum rating is 10. Let's find the minimum rating. Minimum rating is 1. That makes sense for a for a rating system. Now we're going to do the median. Nobody's out there judging how fast I type, are they? It's against the rules. The median is 5.5, pretty close to the mean. Let's find out the mode. Equals mode. That's 5. Another one that's a little bit different, but sort of still makes sense. And now we want to find the standard deviation. Oh, that's gone over the box a little bit. Equals stdiv dot. That's a dot. That's a dot. And that's dot s. Oh, that's a long number. All right, then, let's put this all in a box because I like boxes. Nice and neat. All right, then.